Hello, I am Jagan from Grow with Data. Welcome to the Crack SQL Interview in 50 question series. In this video series, we will be practicing 50 SQL questions across various topics. You can use the playlist Crack SQL Interview in 50 questions to follow the videos related to this series. For each video in this series, you can find the accompanying code on our GitHub page. Feel free to explore the code and provide any feedback in the comment section below. Now let's dive into the fifth video of the Crack SQL Interview in 50 question series. In this video, we are going to continue with the topic related to the select statement. Let's see the data set and we can talk about the question in detail. So we are given a table tweets which has a tweet ID and the content. To find the invalid tweets, the main condition they are specifying is the tweet is strictly greater than 15. If it's the tweet's length is greater than 15, then we are going to say it's an invalid tweet. Let's create the table. So if you see here, the length of this tweet is less than 15, so it's going to be valid. But this one is going to be greater than 15, so we are going to say 2 is invalid. Right? So the expected output is going to be the tweet ID and it's going to be 2. Okay, let's comment this out. So this is a very basic condition, right? So we just say select, say tweet ID from tweets, where to find the length of the text we just say length of content. The keyword we have to say is strictly greater than 15. That means it's greater than 15. It's not greater than or equal to. It says strictly greater than, right? So when you run it, you get the expected results. So it's very straightforward. We just say the length of the content. Only keyword you have to look for is strictly greater than 15. Fine. Now if you want to consider the null values, what happens if there is a null value in the content? Okay, let's insert a null value and see if it works. So run it. Okay, so if you guys inserted the null value, but still the greater than 15 works, right? So the null value is not impacting the greater than 15 symbol. Okay, now if there is a small tweak saying that the invalid condition is strictly less than 15, okay, if you say the condition is reversed, if it's less than 15, it should be the same condition, right? So it should be less than 15. When you run it, you get only 1. But if you see the tweets, oh, okay, we got twice we inserted a null value, but it's okay. We just say content, right? When you say that value is null, so when you have the condition saying strictly less than 15, that means you have to consider the null value also. So the 3 should be shown as a invalid tweet, right? But when you run this condition where length is less than 15, it's not considering the null values. In our previous videos, we explained how to address the null values. Even in the series, the second video, I believe, we talked about it. So how to address this? So we have to have an additional condition saying that and or the content is null, right? So we explicitly say get the tweet ID from the tweets table where the length is less than 15 or it's a null value, right? Okay, is there a better way to address both the length and then the null value? Again, we talked about that before. Instead of that, we just say length of coalesce function content. If the content is null, then you just say it's a blank. It's not a null value, you just have a blank value, okay, should be less than 15. When you run this, you have the null values brought into it. If you say the length of this coalesce function, if you want to see the null value instead of having the coalesce function, if it's directly considering the null value, okay. This is check 2 and this is check 1. Let's see, let's disable the condition here. If you see this one, for the check 1, right, what we did, we just did the coalesce function. If the null content is null value, you just make it as a blank, right. So when you do a blank and do the length, it's going to be 0. But if it's a null value and if you don't address it, then even the length is going to show us null. So the length of null value is showing to be null. So to address that, it's better to use the coalesce function and make it as a blank. So that is the difference between null and blank. So you have to know when to address a null value. Initially when you say greater than 15, the null value has been taken care. But when you say less than 15, where the null has to be considered, then you have to come to a conclusion how to address this, whether to explicitly say the content is null or you replace the null with a blank value and do it. So the better way to do it is just do a coalesce function. If you see that the column you are going to consider as having null, better you fix it explicitly rather than you say you think that the greater than symbol or less than symbol is going to address the null value, right. It's my advice, always consider explicitly addressing the null values if you are considering a column which has the option to have a null value. Hope you like this video and thanks for watching.